one more time.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you very much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. On this edition, we're going to be talking about the New Orleans Saints and could they possibly be moving to Baton Rouge for their home games. And we're also going to be talking about Gayle Benson, man. Gayle Benson had a little bit of a scare the other night. So we're going to be talking about that as well. But of course, if this is your first time checking out the State of the Saints podcast, thank you very much. And hopefully it won't be your last. And before we get started, if you have not already, also go ahead and hit that subscription button, hit the subscribe button and support the State of the Saints podcast. Special shout out goes to those that are in the comments right now. Shouts out to Jerry Poor, the OG of the State of the Saints podcast. Got your boy Jay, Derek, Randy, Brian, Ryan is here, Annie, and Justin. Justin is here as well. RJ Mason, thank you very much. Thank y'all for spending your Saturday night, because that's when we're recording this show or doing it live on a Saturday night. And we all know that the Saints have a bye week, so not much news coming out of Saints camp, but this has been making its rounds for the last about week and some change. The New Orleans Saints possibly considering going to Baton Rouge and playing their home games at Tiger Stadium. Now, this all comes from, of course, Mayor Cantrell down in New Orleans. She has not allowed the New Orleans Saints to open up the Superdome to 25% and allow 25% of fans to come into the Superdome so they can cheer on the home team. Now, I have to say, man, I kind of seen this coming because when the Saints played the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday night, every single Saint player made a comment about, well, I wish we can play in front of the fans. I mean, Jared Cook said it, Alvin Kamara said it, Drew Brees said it, and I'm like, man, this sounds rehearsed. I don't know what. And then a couple of days later, I figured out why they said that. It was almost like them dangling, almost like a threat at Mayor Cantrell. Like, okay, well, we can't play in front of the fans in New Orleans. Then we might go down to Baton Rouge and play in front of the fans in Baton Rouge. So we all know that Tiger Stadium opened up their stadium at the beginning of the SEC season, in around September, late September, early October. And, it's at 25%. So I guess the Saints are looking at, well, they can play in Tiger Stadium with 25% of the fans, and that still can be some type of home field advantage. Now, Alvin Kamara even tweeted. He sent a tweet to Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, and said that the grass is soft at Tiger Stadium. And so Alvin Kamara was out there. So I think some of these stories that we're hearing about the New Orleans Saints meeting up with Baton Rouge officials to see if this could be a possibility, I think that this is a little bit of a reality. Now, I know people wondering, like, who's right and who's wrong in this situation. Is it the New Orleans Saints, or is it Mayor Cantrell? Now, I see both sides, right? I see a Saints team struggling. I see a Saints team struggling defensively at home. Okay, we all know what type of venue the Mercedes-Benz Superdome is. We know what the Superdome means to the New Orleans Saints. We know about it being one of the loudest stadiums in all of football. We know when the dome is rocking, the Saints are practically unbeatable at home. But I still feel like you should be able to play in front of fans or no fans. You should still be a beast. I get it, okay? I understand Mayor Cantrell's point of view as well, because it's almost like damn if you do, damn if you don't, right? So she opens up the Superdome. If she opens it up to 25% capacity, and you have a few hundred people that test positive for COVID by going to a Saints game, imagine the backlash she is going to get. But we're still looking at the backlash because she is not opening up the Superdome. So it's almost like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. All right. So, I mean, I understand both sides. But if the Saints decide to go to Baton Rouge, I don't have a problem with it. That's right. I don't have a problem with the New Orleans Saints going to Baton Rouge. I think that if they can't get what they need down in New Orleans, might as well go hour and 30 minutes out to Baton Rouge. I mean, I don't think that is a bad thing. I think that Baton Rouge fans would, you know what I'm saying, file into that stadium. You'll even have people that's from New Orleans taking that voice down to Baton Rouge. So I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. My main concern is the Saints playing on grass, okay, and playing outside. Now, I am one of those believers that feel like that's going to hurt Drew Brees in a way of him throwing the ball down the field. I think that inside the confines of the Superdome kind of helps him. You got to look at the fact that the Saints play, a total of 9 dome games. And if you count, like, maybe if they play another team, 10, because you're always going to play the Falcons inside of Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and you have 8 home games in your own right. So the Saints at least play 9 games per season inside the confines of a dome. If you're playing all of your home games for the remainder of the season on the outside, if Mayor Cantrell decides not to do, open up the Superdome anytime soon or before the season ends, then you have Drew Brees was a little bit of a limitation. Now, I'm not saying that Drew Brees can't throw the ball outside. I'm saying that it might affect his velocity, especially like if the wind was blowing or something like that, or, say on one of those cold nights inside Tiger Stadium. I think it might affect Drew Brees and his ability to pass the ball down the field. But that's just the way that I'm thinking, man. I can't sit up here and fault Mayor Cantrell for this because, I mean, she's doing what she feels is right by the city, man. I mean, these numbers were going absolutely bonkers down in New Orleans, man, before they actually started locking everything down. And we all know that people in New Orleans are extremely stubborn, and I should know. I'm from there. We don't like people telling us what to do. We will actually do the opposite, even if we wanted to do what they're asking us to do, just because we don't want to do it, just because you told us we need to do it, even though we probably was going to do it before you said anything about it. That's how New Orleans work, okay? But she had to lock it down. And I can't blame her for that. I can't fault her for that at all. All right. And I think that if the Saints do decide to go to Baton Rouge, I think people will take that trip if they stay in New Orleans. No doubt about that. But I think that there's a way that both parties can win. I mean, you have just as passionate fans in Baton Rouge of the Saints than you do in New Orleans. I don't think there's a difference. Derek says, I think the Saints need fans. The best come out to them what they have with the fans. I do agree with that. I was one of those people, I said at the beginning of the season, Who Dat Nation. I said that if you're good, you're good. I still stand by that. But there are some people, some players, I mean, you grow up always playing in front of a crowd, right? If you're in Pop Warner, your mom and your daddy out there rooting for you, saying, that's my baby, right? When you're in high school, you're saying the same thing. In college, you know what I'm saying? You got hundreds of thousands of fans. It depends on what college you go to, okay? They're chanting for you. You know what I'm saying? All these different types of popular catchphrases, you know what I'm saying? Whatever college you're affiliated with, right? If you're at the University of Arkansas, you know what I'm saying? Pig Suey. You know what I'm saying? Like University of Florida, I don't think they're doing it no more. You know what I'm saying? Like they used to do the chomp or whatever. But, you have a whole bunch of people cheering for you. And then you go to the professional level, the NFL, where you have fans spending their hard-earned money just to go out there to chant who that said they're going to beat them Saints. And that big old loud chant just echoes through the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, and everybody just going crazy. And you feel that energy, man, and it's motivating you to go and put your shoulder into the chest of the opposition. I get it. But, maybe they're one of those teams that need those type of fans. Maybe they're one of those teams that need the energy in order for them to play up to the competition. I don't know. But it is, you can tell there's a difference in the swag and the confidence of the New Orleans Saints. She is only doing it to get some of the federal money. I don't know if that's the case or not. You know, I don't know what she's doing it for. If that's your opinion, Anisha, I don't have any issue with that. I just feel like if you're doing something in the best interest of the people, there was a huge number of people that were testing positive for COVID down there in New Orleans. Okay, there was, you know what I'm saying, before she decided to shut it down. I don't know anything about any federal money, but if she's talking about, even if she's been disingenuous when she says this, there is a large number of people that are affected by COVID-19 in the city. She shut it down. She can easily say, I'm concerned about this, and that's the reason I want to open the Superdome, and she looks legit in saying so, even if that's not the case, because you still had a huge number of cases, and you got cases starting to come back as cities start to open up. So that's giving out even more ammunition to be able to, keep doing this. I live in Baton Rouge. I live 10 to 15 minutes away from LSU. For safety reasons, I would not do it. News reports so many positive tests over there, but the revenue and fan support standpoint, I can understand. Yeah, man, I just read an article before I got on the air here. The NFL and the New Orleans Saints, well, not the NFL, but the New Orleans Saints, they lost $15 million so far, man. $15 million in revenue the city has lost because there are no fans inside the stadium. I mean, you count concession, you count tailgate, you count ticket prices, all that stuff. They have lost $15 million, okay? And I don't feel like that number is going to pick up anytime soon, all right? I mean, we got to understand that even though we love football, it's a business at the end of the day, okay? Us going into the stadium, us going into those stores, buying the jerseys, buying the programs, buying that Miller Genuine draft, that money right there is supporting the city. And not to mention the bars that are open, right, to watch these games, okay? Maybe some of the bars are not suffering as much because people still go to the bar, but at the same time, all the money, okay, and all of the restaurants around the Superdome on Poydras Street are suffering because of this, all right? So there is, man, I mean, there is a very dark spot about not having fans inside of the stadiums around the NFL. No doubt about that. Or he didn't take the Centrum Silver. Oh, man. Guess you're talking about Drew Brees on that one. I feel what Cantrell is doing is working. Yeah, I mean, look, I guess, it's an acquired taste, I guess, right? I mean, I think sometimes like we look at things kind of selfishly because we look at it from a standpoint of how that it affects me. How is it hurting me? I want to go to the Saints game. I want to cheer for the Saints. I want to be in the Superdome, right? That's what we talk about. That's what, you know what I'm saying? That's what I hear these stories all the time about people being season ticket holders and them wanting to come to the game and they haven't missed the Saints game in 30 and 40 years. I get it. I understand that. But I also understand her standpoint, man. People are dying because of this. And I'm not trying to get all political and stuff like that. I know some people, support Biden. Some people support Trump. Some people believe, COVID-19 is as real as it gets. Some people feel like it's a hoax. Look, I'm not here to try to persuade anybody. All I'm saying is there are individuals that died, okay? People will say stuff like the numbers have been kind of overblown or whatever. People have died because of COVID-19. One person lost is way too many, in my opinion, because we don't look at it like, okay, only 215,000 out of 7 million people, died. But you have to think about that. Those are 215,000 families that don't have their family member anymore. Or like I said, even if you don't want to believe in the 215,000 that they're saying right now, there's still some family members out there that don't have their mother, their father, their brother, their sister because of this, okay? So to me, that's way too many. So I believe that they need to use precautions in order to save lives. And sometimes they have to protect us from ourselves Because we all know, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we really want something, we don't think about the imminent threat. I'll give you a prime example. Everybody know about my son. Y'all seen him on here before, right? My son Paxton, he's 1, right? He doesn't understand about the imminent threat. Sometimes, a brother might bake a little chicken every now and then, right? Do a little baked chicken, might throw something in the oven. What he likes to do is he likes to grab onto the handle of the oven, right? He doesn't understand if he pulls that oven open, it can possibly burn his hand or scald his face because of the heat that can come out at him. He doesn't understand the threat. I have to protect him from that. So if I'm opening up the oven, I'm telling him to get back. Okay, if the oven is hot, I'm telling him to get back. I'm saying this. Sometimes people have to protect us from ourselves because sometimes we don't make the best decisions sometimes when we really want something for ourselves, right? We want to go to these Saints games, and sometimes we're not thinking about the actual threat that can possibly happen to us. We don't think about, man, there's a possibility we can catch COVID-19. You're just thinking about, hell, I just want to watch the Saints. I just want to cheer for Drew. I just want to root for our boys in order for them to bring that victory home. But sometimes it can't happen that way, man. So that's why I say I can't blame Mayor Cantrell for thinking the way that she does. I can't. Not at all. It doesn't matter where we play as long as we win games, make the playoffs, and do the best we can do. Yeah, Brian, I mean, that's a good point. It don't matter. I think great teams can play anywhere. Prepared teams are going to win, all right? Great teams are going to win no matter what the situation is. I feel like the Saints beating the Detroit Lions after Michael Burton got the little COVID-19 scare, and some of those players were up until about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and they had a game at 12 Central Standard Time. For them to go out there and put on that type of performance, scoring 35 unanswered points, I think that shows the type of team that the Saints are, okay? The fact that they were down by 17 points at home against the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday night and them storming back and win a game in overtime, that shows the type of team that they are. Other teams probably are not going to win that game, and they probably would phone it in, all right? So that is the true testament of a good team, okay? I will say that the Saints are a good team, but I feel like some of the things that they do can cost them down the line, all right? It can't cost them down the line if they can't get it fixed, if they can't get it corrected. So I do agree that great teams win anywhere, but you got to be able to don't beat yourself. And we all know that the Saints are the kings of doing so. It's a tough spot and situation, but our team knows how to rally together, and this fan base will unite strong as ever. Yeah, man, I think that the passion that we have is going to be bottled up. And once we get an opportunity to cheer, it is going like I think out of this whole COVID thing, it just made us appreciate life and some of the things that we take for granted. Like going outside, like interacting with people, you know what I'm saying, that touch, you know what I'm saying, that handshake, like stuff like that. And even going to some of our favorite concerts and games. Like it puts everything into perspective because it's almost like we always felt like we were going to have these things. And now they're taken away from us and we realize how much we value them. Okay. It's like if somebody give us tickets to the circus. I don't know if they do this down in New Orleans or not, but a couple of places that I've been since I left New Orleans, they give free tickets to the circus, right? And they might put them on the counter at your local grocery store or your local gas station or retail store, and you pull one and be like, oh, man, they're free. I'll go take the kids out here on a Saturday, and you get to that circus, man, and it may not be the best circus in the world, but you like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm here. You know what I'm saying? But think about that now. Think about how you would love to go to that free circus. You know what I'm saying? Think about that right now. You'll be like, I wish I can just go anywhere, just walk up in a place and chill my lungs out or just watch something. It's hard for us to do that these days. It's hard for us to do these things without thinking about the imminent threat of COVID-19. It's hard for us to do that, but it makes us appreciate life It makes us appreciate some of the things that we took for granted. I'm pretty sure some people that watch the State of the Saints podcast are season ticket holders. And you probably never thought to yourself that, dang, I would be missing a Saints game because of something like this. And it gives you that passion. And the next time that you get out there and you sit in section 200 or 100 or wherever you're sitting at, it's going to put things into perspective, and you're going to realize how much you value going to a game. I mean, it really puts things into perspective, folks. Really, it really does. Dada Saint says, who that fam? What's going on? Chemo, what's going on, man? Patrice says, agree. Chosen says, who that, TJ? Wouldn't mind the Saints coming to Baton Rouge and putting on in my city, and I may even go to a few if possible. I mean, yeah, I think, like I said, I think there's very, very passionate fans of the Saints that live in Baton Rouge. You know, I think it will be just like a home game. The Saints aren't just the New Orleans team. I think they're the whole Gulf Coast team. Like, they're the whole Gulf Coast team. And, man, a lot of people from different states like Alabama and Mississippi are big-time Saints fans. No doubt about that. Lance says there have been fans in domes and nobody caught COVID. She's just power hungry. Well, like I said, we will have to look at it, Lance. We will have to look at the numbers. We will have to look at the numbers to support what she's saying, okay? We can't compare the city of New Orleans to other cities because maybe the cases aren't as bad. All right, so maybe that's something that she's looking at, and maybe she isn't looking at that. Maybe she's like, I don't care what they're doing. I'm just going to do it my way. And Lance, I mean, you're entitled to feel the way that you feel right now. I mean, you're entitled to that. And I get it. You want to go to the Saints game. You want fans inside the stands because you feel like that is an advantage for the Saints. I get it. But I also get her standpoint too. And I don't think anybody will ever like second or question what she's doing from a political a government standpoint. They won't. They won't. You know what I'm saying? Because they get it. You know, just like some of our favorite players or a football player says, I'm going to sit out this season. We understood. It's kind of hard to say, tell a mayor that she's looking out for the best interest of the city. She don't want people in the Superdome because people might get sick and die. I mean, TJ, what's the biggest thing we need fixed? I say the defense. If they play lights out, the Saints will be unstoppable. Yeah, Derek, I think the defense is something that the Saints need to work on, especially the secondary. I think we're all in agreement on that. I think we all are in agreement that the Saints have the worst secondary in football. I think that these guys can't stop traffic. They can't stop a nosebleed. Okay, I just think that these guys need help. They need to find ways of being around the ball, working on their ball skills, and just their technique in general, completely. So if they get that together, I think they'll be okay. I like the front four of the New Orleans Saints. I think Davenport, I think Davenport did pretty well on Monday night. I mean, he got a couple pressures, got into the face of Justin Herbert a couple times. And I just think that if the back end kind of tightens it up a tad bit, I think the Saints will be okay. That's what I feel like needs to be fixed. And they need to work on starting faster. They get roasted like brisket, burnt like biscuits in full dome anyway. Well, yeah, that is true. I mean, that is true. But at the same time, they play pretty well, okay? They play pretty well. And they play more motivated. What up, Travis 504? Giving a shout out to Travis. Alexander says, I'm a Who Dat fan from Toledo, Ohio, but I live in Columbus, Ohio. Wow, man. Shouts out to, Columbus, Ohio. Ohio State University is out there. Man, I would think that you would be a Cleveland Browns Bengals fan, man, but we appreciate you, man, all the way out there in Ohio. Reggie says, TJ, if you were Major, what would you do? It's a tough situation. I guess you say if I was the mayor. I guess you mean if I was the mayor. If I was the mayor, I would do what's in the best interest of the city, whatever that may be. Like I said, at this particular time, I don't know her thought pattern, okay? But I would do what's best for the city, okay? I wouldn't care about what the Saints are talking about, okay? I get it. The Saints want to make money, and the Saints want that competitive advantage. But, as much as, I'm saying, I got a lot of respect for these Saints players, if they catch COVID-19, they're going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have millions upon millions of dollars. The organization that they work for worth billions of dollars. So they're going to get the best care from auctioneers. They're going to get the best medications. They're going to get all these things to make sure that they get back to health. Versus Joe Blow off the street, who probably spent his last couple of dollars just so he can sit in section 600 inside of the Superdome. He probably don't even have insurance, and he probably works a part-time job. If he gets COVID-19, God bless him. Okay, so I would do what's in the best interest of Joe Blow, who spent this last $50. Not so much about a couple millionaires who basically get weighted on hand and foot. And I'm not saying that these guys aren't human. They don't deal with situations like you and me. But I look out for the best interests of the people that can't look out for themselves. And I feel like that person is more important. So, yeah, I would do what's in the best interest, whatever the numbers are telling me, whatever the analytics are. If they're going into a direction like, well, maybe I need to shut it down, then I would shut it down. It's our secondary is our weakest link. Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt. Do you think Mike T will come back trying to demand too much or be what he's been? No, I think that Mike T is going to come back what he's always been. Look, I'm not buying what they selling, Chemo. I've said this before, and I don't care what anybody says. I feel like they biting off what your boy be saying. I seen articles talking about the same thing I've been saying on the State of the Saints podcast, that the New Orleans Saints leaked this story in order to get Michael Thomas's attention. I mean, this organization don't disclose nothing, okay? For real, like anything with injuries, like we don't know anything about this team at all. Everything is close to the vest, close to the hip. We don't know nothing. Now, all of a sudden, we knowing about Michael Thomas yelling at somebody for opening up his mail and somebody wrapping the tape on his leg wrong. Like, give me a break. This team leaked this information to get his attention. That's what teams do because they want us as fans to turn on the player. They do it during contract negotiations. When a player wants to get paid what they're worth, then they'll start leaking stories about that player. I'm talking about the organizations to make the fans turn on him. Man, he need to get back to camp. Man, he need to stop playing. Man, he need to go ahead and stop being about money. Oh, he money hungry. That's what they do. They want us to do their dirty work because they understand the influence and the power of social media and what it possesses. And they understand that these modern day NFL players are millennials. Like some of us understand what the world before social media even came into it, right? When guys used to have to walk up to a girl and ask them for their phone number and actually have to see their expression if they want their number or not. If the girl told them no, they had to accept it. If the girl said yes, you felt like $1 million. I lived in those days. I remember the days when you had to walk to the corner to use the payphone because you didn't have one in your house. I remember when your grandma told you to turn to channel 3 and you turned the knob. Okay. I remember when the world wasn't as accessible. These modern day NFL players, they probably don't understand that stuff. And what I mean by that is public opinion has ran their lives their entire life, right? Okay. I mean, we understand about public opinion, don't we? We see it all the time on social media. I know I see it a lot. Oh, TJ, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, TJ, you need to go ahead and just cancel your show. Oh, TJ, you don't know what you mean. You ain't no real Saints fan. Them type of folk, right? I understand about public opinion. And when you look at some of these NFL players and they look at these guys who don't probably have the athletic ability that they have, don't have the physiques that they have, don't have the money, the cachet, bashing them, it's hard for them to understand that and it's hard for them to get that out of their mind. And I think that the organizations understand it. So they allow these people to do their dirty work for them, right? Man, he's selfish. He's selfish. What you mean selfish? That makes them want to go back to prove to the world, a world that they don't even know, that I'm not a selfish player. That's why teams do it. It had absolutely nothing to do with Michael Thomas as a person. Michael Thomas has been the player that he's always been. And I expect him to go out there and ball out the same way he always does. No doubt about that. That's FOK or real dude. They that. Michael Thomas even tweeted about the situation. He said, don't believe everything you hear. Exactly. What up, TJ? We are going to need Michael Thomas back at his best. Yeah, I think he'll be back and he'll be doing his thing. Casey says, I saw a post that Sean Payton is looking at Trevor Lawrence next season for the draft. What's your thoughts? Casey, I seen that and I actually replied to you. I know you sent it to me in the inbox. Look, there's no way in the world that the Saints are getting Trevor Lawrence. The Saints, with their 3-2 right now, the Saints will have to lose every single game for the remainder of the season in order for them to even be in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. That's for like the Atlanta Falcons and the New York Jets of the world. And if the Giants want to throw their hat in the ring, they can go in there and have at it as well. Look, the Saints will be nowhere around Trevor Lawrence. The Saints would have to give up heaven and earth. The Saints would have to give up the moon and the stars. The Saints would have to give up Neptune, Earth, Mars, Venus, and, you know what I'm saying, whatever planet I didn't mention. They would have to give all that up in order to acquire Trevor Lawrence. Not happening, okay? A lot of tongue-in-cheek, a lot of lip service, that is. So, no, they're definitely not going to be getting him. They're definitely not, okay? Yeah, but Casey, I replied to you, man, in your inbox, though. Cam Jordan said in an interview a few days ago, everybody is on the same page and don't buy what the media is selling. Well, I'm not going to discredit what Jeff Duncan is saying. And y'all know Jeff Duncan has been on the State of the Saints podcast before. And I'm trying to get him back right now. You know what I'm saying? I emailed him a couple of days ago. So hopefully he'll be back on the State of the Saints podcast. But Jeff Duncan is a well-respected journalist. He's been following the Saints for a very, very long time. And I just have so much respect for him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think this is one of those situations where he was just out here trying to clout chase. I feel like somebody legitimately within the Saints organization gave him this information in order for him to write this article. Jeff Duncan has never been about that. Jeff Duncan has always been a by the book, classic journalist, a classic guy. So it had to come from somebody in order for him to come out with this article. I stand by that. So it had to be somebody within the Saints organization trying to get Michael Thomas's attention. That's the way I feel. I was wrong about Mike T. brothers fight. Dude got a huge ego, but so does Drew and Sean. Look, every NFL player got a big ego. I'm sorry, folks. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I don't care who they are. Like, we like falling in love with people. All that stuff is just political, okay? They can't come out here and just say all these different, off the wall, outlandish things. They will lose endorsements. They will lose their job, okay? That's why it's a lot of politicking. It's a lot of handshaking and baby kissing when it comes to the interviews and it comes to the image of NFL players, okay? Look, all of them have an ego. All of them do. Some of them egos bigger than others. But at the same time, they all have egos, okay? It is a matter of how you allow your ego to drive you. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna let you drop? It's gonna drive you off the edge like Antonio Brown or Terrell Owens or somebody like that, or are you gonna keep it in check? You know what I'm saying? Like a Tom Brady or even a Drew Brees. So everybody has one, man. Look, so I feel like if we're just out here like, oh man, Michael Thomas, I can't believe, like, come on, man, come on, like. I mean, it would change. Like, as much as people try to make it seem like if certain things don't happen in their life, they'll be the same person. Like, knock it off. If you had $150 in your bank account today, and then tomorrow you wake up in the morning and you got $55.6 million up in your bank account. You ain't about to tell me that you about to spend your life or spend your day like you planned on spending your Sunday. Stop it, right? You know what I'm saying? You're going to be thinking about things that you never thought that you would get. You would go out and try to purchase something that you never thought that you would purchase. You would, you know what I'm saying, go to places that you never even thought about going. And you would get certain respect and adulation that you probably wouldn't get just being an average Joe Blow living everyday life. It's going to change you. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, but it's a matter of how you allow it to change you and take over your life. So I think that he's always been the same person. No doubt about it. I mean, the same thing that makes you laugh makes you cry. And the same thing that makes you cheer is going to make you want to fight. And that's Michael Thomas. Public opinion has mainly tried to ruin the Saints as a team and all that. But to chime in on the conversation, our Saints need to do what they feel is best for them to do to win, lose, or draw. I'm a Saints fan. Who that for life? Yeah, you got to do what's best for your team. Mayor Cantrell got to do what's best for the city. I don't know if public opinion is trying to destroy the Saints. Look, it's up to them if they're going to allow public opinion to destroy them. All right? We know about the story about Drew Brees and how it affected his teammates. We know about the Alvin Kamara contract situations and stuff like that. We know about, they said that he wasn't at practice and all that kind of stuff there. Now we got situations about Michael Thomas. So that's just the way it goes sometimes, folks. That's just the way that it goes. It goes that way sometimes. No doubt about that. I can't believe this. I think that my mouse stopped working. My mouse froze up on me. But anyway, I can't. Let's see if I can stroll down a tad bit here. Okay, I can still stroll down. I can still stroll down for a second. My mouse stopped working. I got a mouse that's wireless, so I guess the juice ran out on it. So I don't know. I can't. I'm gonna just have to read. I'm just gonna have to read the comments, but it's not gonna come up on the screen. Let's see. Dustin says, "I hear you, man." Your boy Jay says, "I will never forget Saints fans for wanting to trade Alvin Kamara to sign Fournette or try to trade Mike after that fight." Yeah, man. Look, anybody that's out here getting mad about that, like, give me a break, man. Guys fight. I mean, this stuff always gets reported. It always gets reported all the time. I mean, it just don't get reported all the time. Excuse me. But these things happen all the time inside of locker rooms, whether you want to believe it or not. You know, I know some people just want to think that their team is full of choir boys, but they're not. It's just not. It's just not the way that things are, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, people fight. You know what I'm saying? They have disagreements. They have fallen out, but they play for the same team, so they gotta get it together. I gotta ask my wife. I'm texting her right now if she would bring me my charger so I can charge up my mouse. Let's see. Down here in Las Vegas, people were saying that the Saints should trade Michael Thomas. I told them they smoking. Man, they crazy. Alexander says, "I don't know why the Saints why the NFL hates the Saints so much." I don't know if the NFL hates the Saints. I know the referees do, and I stand by that. Dustin says, "Well, if someone is a cancer, then y'all trade them. But if we're good, we're good." Look, dude, not a cancer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that the dude just really highly competitive, and sometimes he don't know how to channel that anger. He don't know how to turn it on and off sometimes. But it's what makes him great, right? It what makes him great. Chemo says these dudes are young as well. Yeah, I mean, they young, they rich, they still trying to figure things out. So, I mean, the thing about Michael Thomas is, like I said, he's extremely competitive. He's a competitive guy. And you're asking an extremely competitive guy to stop being competitive. Like, I don't know how you can do that. Uh, well, everyone gossiping about the fight. Thomas is somewhere eating some Wingstop. Exactly. I mean, he was on he was on First Take when Cam Jordan was on there. He was in the facility that day. So channel 3 was the PS2 channel. Yeah, that's right. Before we had like the auxiliary, what I'm saying, like we had the audio visual prones and stuff like that. You know, channel 3 was the Super Nintendo channel. It was the Nintendo channel. It was the Sega Genesis channel. Michael Thomas even tweeted about the situation. He said, "Don't believe what they saying." What up, TJ? We are going to need Michael Thomas back at his best. And I think I already read those. Thank you for responding to that, TJ. I've been wondering about that since I saw the post. Yeah, man. I don't know if man, there's no way the Saints getting Trevor Lawrence. I can't even say I don't think. I know they're not gonna get him. It's not happening. Let me see. True TJ, 27 year old with millions. Yeah, the best statistic in the NFL makes sense. Yeah, man. I mean, look, dude's rich. They got a bunch of money, man. Like I said, they go from nothing to something overnight. Mike been very competitive since he was at Ohio State. Reports came out in 2015 he used to trash talk, bully Eli Apple in practice. That's who he is, a competitor. That's even what Urban Meyer said when he got drafted. Urban Meyer was like, this guy gets into a fight at least 2 to 3 times a week in practice. He said this before. He said this. Can we cut our losses with Taysom Hill? Whatever happened to them putting everything on the table this season? I don't know if they're going to cut their losses. And I just think that Sean Payton just has made up in his mind that he is going to make the Taysom Hill experience work. if the last game didn't prove to you that he wants it to work, I don't know what will. This man took Drew Brees out the game on 2 drives where Drew Brees was out there wheeling and dealing. All right. So if that don't tell you that he is going to force Taysom Hill down your throat, I don't know what will. And he's going to do it even more because he knows it gets on your nerves. That's Sean Payton. That's Sean Payton in a nutshell, folks. One incident, and he's a cancer. We used to have scuffles when I was in high school. Yep, everybody did. That kind of brought camaraderie to the team. Work where on Madden? Do you think Tampa and North Carolina can both take L's this week? The way that we stay on top of the division during the bye. Well, I guess you mean Carolina. I don't know if Tampa and Carolina are going to take L's. I don't know. I really don't know. Not sure about that. I mean, hopefully they can, they can, but I'm not sure if both of them are going to be able to. Do you think Mike T being out affecting Lattimore's performance? I know they go up against each other in practice, but since Thomas has been out, Lattimore has off games. Ray, I think that Marshawn Lattimore is hurt. Marshawn Lattimore has been dealing with a hamstring injury, and for those that play sports and it plays basketball, rather you play football, if you ever pulled your hamstring, that is some pain right there, folks. It's almost, I promise you, it's like you got shot. All right. Like if you're running at full speed and your hamstring just blows out on you, I'm telling you, man, it is nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. It is like the sharpest pain that you ever going to feel in your entire life. And it's a pain that goes from the bottom all the way up to like the top of your your thigh, man. It's like you really can't do much with it, man. You can't run at full speed. And I just think that the game that happened against the Chargers, he was not 100%. Anybody that think Lattimore was 100% in that game, I don't know what to tell you. Now, he has been playing pretty bad this season. I will concede to that. Okay? But at the same time, he's not that bad to a point where, I don't know. It has a lot to do with the hamstring. I'll just leave it at that. Carolina ain't taking L's this week. Let me see. Make sure I read that right. Carolina ain't taking a L this week. I'm just saying. Never know. TJ, what do you think about Mike T not being able to turn it down in practice? And he's sick of what we're seeing, being he has been watching the games like us. So he was annoyed with ID. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if he's annoyed with them, frustrated, or what. I really don't know what the problem is. I really don't. But all I know is if he's been the same person that he's always been, I don't have no problem with it. I mean, I don't want him to be around this thing stealing off on teammates all the time, but I don't want him to stop being competitive. That's who he is. That gets him fired up. Phillips says, prior to the last two games, do you think Sean Payton was holding the offense back? And now that Mike T's coming back, the offense will be wide open, and it will also help the defense. Philip, look, do I feel like some of the plays that Michael Thomas had on the play sheet are no longer being used because he's hurt? Absolutely. But do I feel like it just, going to open up the playbook and endless possibilities for everybody? No, I do not. Okay. The Saints were dinking and dunking it with Michael Thomas in the lineup. I don't think they're going to stop doing that just because he's back. Okay. I just don't feel that way. I don't feel that way at all. I just think that they might have like some more plays and it might open up guys because he demands a double team, but I don't think it's going to like completely change the whole entire offense. Taysom Hill more like Taysom Cliff because that's what he's falling off of. Casey said, TJ, who would you like to see as the DC for the Saints? I don't know. I wish we could have got Todd Bowles. He's a good defensive coordinator. I wouldn't mind seeing Wade Phillips. I wouldn't mind seeing Wade Phillips as the Saints defensive coordinator. I like Wade Phillips. I think Wade Phillips is a really good defensive coordinator. I also would like Richard, the guy who used to be the assistant defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. I wouldn't mind seeing him as a defensive coordinator of the Saints. I think he had a lot of promise. And honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't mind. This may sound a little crazy, folks, but I wouldn't mind Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, I mean, everybody can't be a good head coach, right? Everybody can't be a good head coach, man. Sometimes guys are better coordinators. And when Dan Quinn was over the Legion of Boom with the Seattle Seahawks, we all know how dominant those guys were. So somebody like that, I don't know if, he would do that, but I mean, I'm glad Gail is all right after that incident. Yeah, I was going to talk about that. Gail Benson, of course, she was almost she was almost I don't want to say kidnapped, but I guess you can say that because a guy jumped into the car. I don't think he knew that she was in the car. And he was about to steal it, and she yelled and said, "Get out, get out, get out." You know what I'm saying? It scared the guy to a point where he got out the car and started running. So, I'm glad that she's okay. I think that was stupid on the dude's behalf. I'm like, what the hell are you thinking? Like, if you're going to steal a car, at least look on the inside, see if somebody in there or something. But I guess he thought he was going to get a quick lick. You know what I'm saying? He was going to get a quick lick. Thank you. Shouts out to my wife, man. Clutch, man. She got the charger for me. Excuse me for a second, folks. I had to plug in the mouse here. All right. So anyway, stupid on his part, man. Stupid on his part that that he would do something that crazy. But I'm just glad she okay, man. But she a tough lady, man. Anybody else probably would have passed out or something like that. Said that she was like just telling him to get out, and I'm pretty sure she probably was throwing something at him or trying to hit him or something like that. So, yeah, Ray says Gail almost got GTA'd. Well, she did get GTA'd, but sometimes on sometimes on Grand Theft Auto, if you steal somebody's car, they come chasing behind you and throw you up out that thing, right? So I guess she was GTA'd in a way, but she made sure she got her car back. Dude, that was so crazy. Probably couldn't believe it was Gail Benson. Yeah, it probably didn't. And that he probably didn't realize somebody was in a car, But like I said, I'm just glad she okay, man. That could have ended a lot worse. I mean, it could have ended a lot worse, man. She could have, man. I mean, we could be talking about Gail Benson in the past tense. And the thing about it, where the hell was her bodyguards at? Like, I know somebody like that, a billionaire, walking around the city of New Orleans. I know she got to have like some kind of security team with her. You know what I'm saying? She got to have some type of bad boy street team or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, she got to have the street team with her. Like, man, she got to have the goons with her at all times. You know what I'm saying? People crazy. Like, people would just try to come up to you, try to do something to you, knowing that you got Skrilla. Nah. Like, where the street team at? Where the street team? She needs a street team, man. Somebody get Gail Benson some goons, man. Get her some goons, please. I pulled my hamstring in college during a game, and the feeling is no joke. Lattimore played hurt, and you can tell he was limping while he was trying to cover the Chargers receivers. Yeah, man. Anybody had a pulled hamstring, you know what I'm talking about. That's crazy. I'm just glad she okay, man. Could have ended a lot worse. PJ, I know it's early, but have you seen the J.C. Horn, South Carolina, Joe Horn's son play? He had 2 interceptions today. Will look nice in black and gold for 2021. Well, I tell you what, boy, them boys got some legacy on that team. I think Deion Sanders' son is a cornerback on South Carolina's team, and now you got Joe Horn's son. Like, I don't know, man. I got to see more. I'm not. Look, I get his dad was a New Orleans legend and all that kind of stuff, but can he play? Can he really play? I don't need nobody that another person that can't turn their head around in the Saints defense. We got too many more of those guys. All right. Cross says I meant to say TJ. I know what you meant, Cross. They better not find that guy. If they do, it's going to be trouble. Yeah, it's going to be more than that. Man, I don't know. It might be more than that. I don't think they're going to find him, though, to be honest. I wanted to ask you who are your top 3 running backs are for the Saints all time. I like Deuce, Bush, and Ingram. Kamara looking to take Bush spot in my mind if he stays going this way. Well, the top three running backs, Saints history. I put Dalton Hilliard up there. You know what I'm saying? I think Dalton Hilliard was pretty good. But, Mark Ingram is my favorite. Mark Ingram is my favorite running back for Saints. Deuce McAllister, I guess, you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess we just hold Deuce in such high regard. But, I mean, yeah, I guess so. You know what I'm saying? I put Deuce up there. And my third, if I had, man, I don't know. Craig Haywood, you know what I'm saying? Ironhead. I put Ironhead up there. So Ironhead was my favorite. Shouts out to him, man. Craig Haywood, rest in peace. Marshawn was playing pathetic before he got hurt, though. That's true. That's true, Ice Man. I ain't gonna lie about that. He been pretty slow this season, and that's my guy. My grandma said, "What's your prediction for the Saints versus the bye?" I think the Saints. I think the bye is going to win because I think these guys are going to go and relax and chill out, get ready for the rest of the season. So the bye is going to get the victory over the Saints. Saints, or I mean, I don't know if you was doing that as a joke or you're saying after the bye. Now, after the bye, they play Carolina, so I'll make sure I get that prediction next week. Saints players need to get their heads around. Yeah, man, they need to do something. Need to get some turnovers. I don't know what's wrong with them. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Lattimore either. Ingram, Pierre, Kamara. Yeah, I got to put Pierre up there too, man. I didn't mention Pierre Thomas, which is crazy because he's, like I said, he's like my second favorite New Orleans Saint of all time. I don't know, man, but if I had to, I can't believe I forgot about Pierre Thomas. Yeah, Pierre Thomas, yeah, he definitely up there for me. So yeah, that'll be my 3 right there. Okay, I'll push Ironhead back to 4. I'll push Ironhead back to 4. So it would be Mark Ingram, Pierre Thomas, Deuce McAllister, and then Ironhead Craig Haywood. Why can't the Saints have a quality defense? We literally always have the same questions about this defense. Are we not tired of this yet? Iceman, I went on a tangent last time. I'm kind of mellow here tonight because, I had a good time today. I took my son out to the pumpkin patch, me and my wife and stuff like that, family day. You know what I'm saying? I'm chilled. I'm laid back, man. I ain't really got nothing to, yell and scream about this week, especially the Saints got to bye. But I've been talking about this for weeks. man, that the Saints need to get a better defense, and I'm tired of talking about it. I really am, man. I've been talking about this till I'm blue in the face. And I think that we're all just tired of talking about this. We want the Saints to have a quality defense. And hopefully they will one day. Hopefully they will. I hope it comes, you know what I'm saying, before, I'm dead and gone. I never thought that I would see the New Orleans Saints. I never thought that I would see the New Orleans Saints actually win a Super Bowl. And I'm starting to wonder if I ever going to see the Saints have a lights-out defense. Derek says, I'm ready to play corner. I still play football. I'm just saying. Yeah, they may need you out there. Hopefully you can turn your head around, man. Catch a pick. Who you rooting for, Tampa or Green Bay? I know we want Tampa to lose for the division, but if Green Bay and Seattle start losing, we might get the 1 seed. Look, I don't think we're going to catch either one of those guys, to be honest with you. I think that Green Bay, the schedule favors them down the stretch. But we need Tampa to lose and win the division. If we continue to win, we win more games than them, might get the 3 seed, same spot we was in last time. And honestly, this playoffs is not like other playoffs. The only person that's going to get a first round bye is the 1 seed. The 1 seed is the only one that's going to get the bye. If I don't know if y'all knew that or not. But the only one that's getting a bye is the 1 seed. The 2 seed going to have to play in a wild card round. So that unless you are going to be the number 1 seed, that's the only seed that matters, right? So I want people to understand that. Are the Saints contenders in this current position, like team-wise? No, I said that they're not. They're not contenders. They're not. Like on paper, if we're talking about Madden and we're simulating the season, yes, they are contenders. But if we're talking about the way that they're playing right now, absolutely not. We're just setting ourselves up for heartbreak right now. They can keep winning games and disguise these issues, but it's only a matter of time before we get our hearts broken by this team. Seattle's defense is ranked last. Yeah, they ranked last, but Russell Wilson playing out his damn mind. Seattle defense is ranked worse than NFL. Yeah, it is. But once again, Russell Wilson is playing out of his damn mind. I'm sick of our defense can't stop nobody, man. Me and you both. The truth hurts. I believe in my heart we would be a better dynasty than the Patriots with a good defense. Yeah, but we need a good defense. Don't know when that's going to come, though. Saints always break my heart. Still coming back. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is, huh? They definitely break your heart. I'm just tired of it, man. Like, I learned from this team, man. I'm never too high and I'm never too low when it comes to the Saints. Like, I'm passionate about them, of course, but I don't put any caps on what this team can and cannot do. I just don't. The Saints can run the table and win every single game this season, and it wouldn't surprise me. Then they can go 9-7, 8-8, and it wouldn't surprise me. That's how I'm so balanced with this team. You know what I'm saying? Never too high, never too low. We're going to take a few more, man, then we're going to get up out of here. Cornelia says, I get the fact that Drew never had a cannon of an arm. But what's the point in getting speedy receivers if he has to get a running start to get the ball to them? I mean, did they ever try to shoot 50 cal ammo from a musket? That is a good point, Cornelius. And I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't have the answers. I'm like Sway. I ain't got the answers, man. I ain't got the answer today at all. I guess they feel like they still can use those guys in other ways, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they realize that Drew is not going to play forever, and a quarterback that may come behind him may possess that rocket arm. I mean, they do have Jameis. I mean, just because he signed a 1-year deal don't mean the Saints won't try to get him back next year. Keep that in mind, Who Dat Nation. I think the Saints can beat the Seahawks and should have beaten Green Bay. Oh, man. Yeah, I think they can beat the Seahawks, but I don't want to see it. I do not want to see the Saints play the Seahawks. I don't. Look, Russell Wilson is the man. Everybody know how I feel about Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, my second favorite quarterback in the NFL right now. Love watching him play, and he scares me to death. I don't know if y'all remember that game in week 2, but the Saints were beating up on Seattle pretty badly. And in that fourth quarter, we seen Russell Wilson do some pretty amazing things. So I don't want no smoke with Russell Wilson, okay? We need to stay as far away from this guy as possible, okay? We need to stay as far away from Russell Wilson as possible. I don't want no parts of Russell Wilson at all, okay? That guy, like people say what scares me, that guy scares me because the way that we be like, as long as we got Drew win a game, as long as they got Russ. There's a reason why I say in Russ, I trust. I trust that dude to go out there and do some incredible things, man. Like, Russell Wilson is a combination of Steve Young and Drew Brees to me, okay? Like, he plays like Drew Brees in his younger days. He doesn't have, like, the strongest arm in the world. He doesn't. And, you know what I'm saying? When y'all know when Drew was, like, in his 20s, like when he was, like, 08, 09 Drew, when he had the long hair in the back. Drew Brees had, like, the best deep ball in you know what I'm saying, in the NFL. It wasn't, like, a cannon or nothing like that. But Russell Wilson is just like Drew, like the same way. But the exception of he has Steve Young type scrambling skills, right? You know what I'm saying? He gets out the pocket, got that classic baseball slide, never really get himself too much in trouble, rolling out. Man, my goodness, man. Who don't like watching Russell Wilson play? Like seriously, folks. Like, remove your Saints fandom for a second. Tell me if you see the Seattle Seahawks on TV, you ain't trying to watch Russell Wilson play. Come on now. That dude incredible, man. Love watching that guy. If that dude ended up playing for the Saints, man, my goodness. I think we need to have a package for Jameis. Yeah, me too. We're gonna be talking about Jameis probably this week too. I mean, the Saints don't really have that much news coming up. I mean, they got Carolina, but we're going to be talking about that because I was watching a show and they said something very interesting and it involved Jameis Winston. So probably going to talk about that. I'll say tomorrow. We'll talk about that on tomorrow. We'll make that tomorrow's topic on the show. Pete continues to be the weak link of the O-line. Yeah, to say the least. If you watch Russell Wilson interviews, he idolizes Drew Brees. I mean, he plays just, like I'm telling you. The only difference is he has better scrambling skills than Drew. They're like, it's like watching Drew Brees all over again. The way that dude play, unbelievable, man, unbelievable the way this guy plays football. It's amazing. Russell Wilson set in a draft to the 3rd round before he was picked. All those teams passed on him. Makes me scratch my head. And not to mention, he wasn't even supposed to be the guy. If you remember, former LSU quarterback Matt Flynn was supposed to be the guy because everybody fell in love with him when he threw them 7 touchdowns in one game when I think Aaron Rodgers went out and he was the backup and he got that big contract out there in Seattle. But he goes out there to Seattle and he stinks it up and You have Russell Wilson out there, and he plays much better, and the rest is history. The rest is history. I take Byron Jones over Lattimore. Well, Byron Jones is pretty good. Byron Jones isn't going to give you interceptions, but he'll give you good technique. I can tell you that. Drew being 6 feet made Russell Wilson a better quarterback. Just ask him. Really, Drew is responsible for most 6-foot quarterbacks. Yeah, him and Fran Tarkenton. And we got to give respect to Doug Flutie, too, man. Like, we can't be sitting up in here and disrespecting Doug Flutie like that. Everybody was, man, come on now, man. Flutie was the man. Flutie, if Flutie was about 5 inches taller, Flutie would be in the Hall of Fame. Nobody wanted to bet on Flutie. Nobody wanted Flutie to play. But Flutie was out there making it happen, all right? There's a reason why people were buying Flutie flakes. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why. Come on now. So I'm gonna say that Doug Flutie to me was the greatest little quarterback that ever played the game, and so was Fran Tarkenton. But Drew Brees the greatest of all time, all right? But when we're talking about really short guys, we gotta talk about Doug Flutie. Doug Flutie was the man, and I think that's what motivated Drew Brees. Even Drew Brees said it. And you got to remember, Doug Flutie was actually the quarterback for the San Diego Chargers when Drew Brees was a rookie. And Drew Brees talks about how much Doug Flutie mentored him when he went to San Diego. Keep that in mind. Prescott will be resigned by the Cowboys, I'm sure. Yeah, they would, because Jerry Jones cares about public opinion. And he knows that people are going to be looking at him as like the worst person in the world if he don't sign Dak Prescott back somehow. Ray said, I never seen Doug Flutie play. Ray, you must be pretty young, man. Yeah, man, Doug Flutie was the man. Doug Flutie, if you have some time, man, I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and search Doug Flutie highlights. Doug Flutie, he won a Heisman Trophy back in 1983, if I'm not mistaken, from Boston College. He was known for that Hail Mary against Miami. He was always responsible for some magic moments. He didn't get the opportunity really to play in the NFL because nobody really wanted him to be there. He played for the Patriots for a little while until I think Pascalini or something like that, or some other quarterback. I can't remember. They ended up replacing him. Doug Flutie, I think the year that the Patriots end up going to the Super Bowl, he was responsible for the majority of those wins. He ended up going to the Canadian Football League. He became arguably the greatest quarterback in Canadian football history, came back to the United States, signed with the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills didn't really want him. They wanted Rob Johnson, a.k.a. Robo-Sack, a guy that was always getting sacked because he was about 6'7", 6'8", looked the part. Flutie took a backseat again. Then, like that whole Rob Johnson starting against the Tennessee Titans in the 2000 playoffs, and I know y'all probably remember this game because that's the game where, the Tennessee Titans end up winning because they did that whole lateral play, when a guy Frank Wycheck threw the ball back to Kevin Dyson and he ran the ball up the field for a touchdown. And, that classic called, there are no flags on the field. Well, Doug Flutie was supposed to play in that game. He was supposed to play, and he ended up leaving, going to San Diego, mentoring Drew Brees. But Doug Flutie, man, he deserves a lot of respect, man. Doug Flutie was a really good quarterback. And like I said, if he was probably 5 inches taller or even 3 inches taller, then he probably would be one of the best quarterbacks of all time, man. He just never got that opportunity because people didn't really like quarterbacks or give quarterbacks under 6 feet an opportunity at that time. And I know it sounds crazy. We're ending the State of the Saints podcast on a note about about Doug Flutie, but I mean, Doug Flutie was the man. I'm saying? I got a lot of respect for him, no doubt about that. Okay, we're not going to end it on Doug Flutie. We got to end it Saints related. All right, I'm not going to end the show talking about Doug Flutie. Taysom is showing massive signs of aging for these hits in his decision making. Stumbling, not paying attention, overall awareness, all has regressed to me. I don't know, man. He look a little he do look a little suspect this season. I will say that. I can't even lie about that. And Brent Zilla says Callaway is not a deep threat. I just think he can play like a Mike T type role. That's not true. Marquez Callaway is much faster than Michael Thomas, and he definitely was a deep ball threat at the University of Tennessee. I mean, he's just a pretty big guy. He about 6'2", 6'3", or something like that. So, I mean, he can fly now. He can fly. I just don't get why people have said he's fast. Who's fast? Oh, you talking about are you talking about Callaway? Let me see. Sean needs to run the ball 90% win rate when running the ball 30 times or more in a game. Let's see. 4.5 is not flying. Yeah, he may be flying, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe at Tennessee, maybe he was a man among boys or something. But he seemed like, he can always take the top off defense when I seen him. But I mean, 4.5, that is pretty fast, though. That is pretty fast for, I get people on 4.2 and 4.3 and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But 4.5, I mean, you see a guy running a 4.5 in real time. That's pretty fast, folks. That's pretty fast. It's not like you're not Carl Lewis or Michael Johnson or nothing like that in the Olympics or Usain Bolt, but we're still flying, still pretty fast. But I guess that's just me, man. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. And yes, we did not end the show with a story about Doug Flutie. But thank you all very much for being a part of the podcast. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Also, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. And be sure to check out the State of the Saints podcast on the streaming apps, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Take a few minutes to check out the streaming app podcast and support us as we try to grow the audio podcast. All right. So you all have a good Saturday night. We'll be back at it on tomorrow. And I will also be a special guest on Big Q's show on YouTube on tomorrow. So make sure that y'all check out Sports Coma with Big Q on tomorrow. I'll be a special guest on the show talking about the New Orleans Saints. So keep it locked. Check out Pro Sports Media and the Sports Coma with Big Q on tomorrow. Definitely will be on the show, man. So y'all support Big Q and support me, man, as I, talk a little bit about the black and gold. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?